讲一下我们的流程。我们大概就是一个人会讲8分钟，那我们的0到2分钟就会是一个人负责申论，然后呢另外一个人闭嘴，然后呢我们的2到6分钟就会是开始一个我们类似执行的时间，就是我们2个会有交流，他会问我问题，然后我要回答他的问题，或者是他可以质疑我的一些论点，然后这是2到6分钟的事情。然后我们最后我们的6到8分钟，我们最后2分钟就是时间又回到我身上，这是他不能讲话，他继续闭嘴，然后呢我继续讲我的论点。好，差不多就是这样。OK， 好，那
怎么着？
谁输谁赢其实会是有一个评分表。那如果依照这个赛制的话，这赛制其实就是你看谁的论点比较多，然后跟。
那我们让观众投票啊。
这其实是好让观众投票有问题。这是英国，简单来说，这个就叫做英国议会制啊。
哎呦，发哥加码送，
反正就是那个英国议会制。然后呢，就是谁的论点多谁就赢。
音变大佬发言，
还好。
要先贴着才投票。
然后我写一下主题，我们家叫什么？
对啊，他妈的要先听得懂。
Legalizing on medical care. OK， 那我们准备开始了。OK， 我要开始计时。好。Okay, greetings everyone. This House strongly disagree to legalize euthanasia for medical purpose. So before I talk about my contention, I would first like to define the term euthanasia. Euthanasia means painless killing of a patient suffering from an incurable and painful disease. And now I would like to talk about my contentions. First, doctors' oath not to kill people. We all know that doctors have sworn an oath before they become a doctor to not kill any people in the rest of their life, which euthanasia is a kind of killing, which the doctor would disobey its oath by using euthanasia. Like I mentioned, for the definition of euthanasia is killing a patient, which this is definitely against the doctor's oath. Second, euthanasia is irreversible. Some people may have a shifting opinion on death, which they don't know whether their decision is right or wrong. So after using euthanasia, they can't have any choice for the rest of their life because they're dead. Okay, and the third contention is about the harm to vulnerable groups, which we all know that the underprivileged group in our society is mostly low income, which they would rather decide to let their relatives to die because they don't have enough medical fees to pay for the therapy they're using. So they will choose euthanasia as a choice because they don't have the money to pay for their medical fees. So this will definitely be a harm to our vulnerable groups, which their groups will be lesser, that make the whole society the whole society a chaos. And my fourth contention is about legalize. Okay, you may ask your question now. Okay, my fourth contention is about legalizing euthanasia is legalizing a kind of suicide. Also, some have considered euthanasia as a murder too. And if legalizing euthanasia as a kind of suicide, which will lead to some patients will see suicide as a solution to the problem, which they're only escaping the problem, not facing it. And based on the Declaration of Independence, people has the right to pursue life, liberty, and equal. But there's not a word in this convention to talk about the right to pursue death, which euthanasia is against this.
First of all, this debater would like to ask my opponent a question. So, is my opponent aware of the fact that the definition of human rights also contains the right to pursue death or to die with dignity or to go on a person's own terms.
But what you mentioned is about this will lead to another things I would like to say. Some religious concern has considered suicide and murder as a sin, which you said that the right to pursue of death we haven't seen this also in this our constitution, so I don't get it why the right to pursue death where does it come from?
It comes from the fact that humans are and should be allowed to go out on their own terms and to die with dignity.
So,
And moreover,
okay. About this, have you ever considered think that to pursue death is against our mother nature, or there's not a species on this earth that would like to pursue death in their life?
as a matter of fact, there are in some cases. However, that's for another topic. But the point is, humans should be able to die with dignity on their own terms instead of unwillingly.
So how is it euthanasia dying with dignity?
They can
This
choose
is
to.
dying meaninglessly because they're only escaping the problem,
This-
facing it.
This will be up to ethical concerns. However, I believe that dying with dignity with anesthesia is such as
So what's the standard of your ethical purpose or whatever?
can the debater further elaborate?
By the meaning of what's the standard of ethical purpose? It differs from people, right?
Yes. Go
Yeah,
on.
So also the meaning of that means different to people. So why you should judge? So why you can be so accurate about that? What you said is right.
Yes, because allowing euthanasia is just giving another option instead of forcing all of those incurable patients to go through anesthesia and killing them.
Okay, like what I said by using this, still a lot of people are seeing suicide as a solution. So would this cause any chaos in our society?
I believe not, because there is a difference between suicide and controlled euthanasia. Suicide cannot be controlled, since humans can commit suicide in various ways, such as gunpoint to the head or something.
Yeah,
But euthanasia is controlled under governance. So you have to apply for euthanasia and you have to sign documents in order for you to get euthanasia process.
but you need to legalize euthanasia first, which it is not in Taiwan first. And also, this was also be mentioned in our following contention, which the whole legalizing process is complicated, which would not be easy to be done.
Yes, so this is why we're debating on legalizing euthanasia.
Yeah, so it is.
So the legalizing process should not be concerned, since we have to first determine whether to legalize it or not.
But if this was caused a lot of, like you just said, this would cause before they legalized, there will cause a lot of debate or something in our society, which it would cause a huge process. So, but legalizing euthanasia is also the government control. You said it also needs a lot of standard and it's complicated about it. Also, the document you meant to sign. And also about some researchers point out that after using euthanasia, people haven't died after that. So what's the responsibility of this?
First of all, the euthanasia process is pretty short, as a matter of fact. It only consists of hours or half an hour. And second of all, what if a person changes his mind? Am I correct? Then I would like to bring up the issue of a DNR, which is a do not resuscitate.
Okay, you may shut up.
Okay.
It's over time. Okay, I will now continue my contention about the religious concern. Some religions have considered suicide and murder as a sin, which does help define euthanasia as a killing of process, which is in the definition of murder and suicide too. And the process of euthanasia is against the mother nature, which there's not a species on the earth is pursuing death for a meaningless death, which euthanasia is, because they can't have anything to do for the rest of their life. And the most important part of this debate is the value of death. Euthanasia is making a meaningless death in our society. It will lighten the value of death. As we all know that the value of death is quite sacred. euthanasia is definitely harming and this sacred thing. Yeah, and that's my hard speech. Thank you.
Honorable judges and fellow debaters, this is I am going for the legalization of euthanasia for medical purposes. And first of all, I would like to bring out the point that humans should be provided another option for incurable patients to go out on their own terms. In other words, patients should be able to choose to die with dignity. And to support this claim, I believe that humans have explicit right to live, and therefore they should have the same right to for self-determination or self-destruction. Second of all, just like the fellow debater just stated, he believed that doctors have more rights, more power to determine the living or death of patients if euthanasia is legalized. However, I believe that doctors would not be given more power or be blamed God, since the fact that doctors are just, if euthanasia is provided, then doctors are just providing a suggestion based on their medical knowledge, instead of forcing patients to go through euthanasia. And third of all, I would like to compare the comparison between euthanasia and DNR, which is a do not resuscitate claim. So later, I would like to ask my fellow debater on the difference between those two. And first of all, society allows animals to be put down for their kindness, out of their sympathy for their suffering. So I believe that the same can be done to humans, though with a more sophisticated process. And fifth of all, euthanasia is possibly able to be regulated, since many toxins and many substances are regulated by the government.
I would like to say I didn't mention the word of doctor's power during my speech, so I don't get it why you mentioned this in your.
Well, then can the debater further elaborate on his claim on the doctor part?
No, I didn't mention any part on the doctor. So here's my question. I would like to ask, do you consider euthanasia as a suicide or murder?
I believe that it cannot be defined as both, since both have explicit definitions.
But what's the definition on euthanasia?
Euthanasia is a process to allow patients to terminate their life.
Terminate their life, which is also being said kill themselves or kill by.
However, I would like to ask the debater, what do you define if a person is sick and eventually die? Does that count as murder or suicide?
That counts also by it's both murder or suicide. If the decision is made by the patient, then it's suicide, and it is being done by the doctor, so it's a murder.
I believe that the debater is not answering my question.
Yeah, I said it's both suicide and murder, which I believe I'm answering your question. Okay, let's move on to the next question. Okay.
No, not yet. However, I would like to elaborate that. I would like for you to further elaborate that if a person dies of a sickness, is that a murder or a suicide?
Die for sickness, that's not both, but euthanasia, die for sickness is dying naturally, but with euthanasia, it's dying not.
Well, then for a patient to go through euthanasia, then the patient will first have to be sick and terminally ill. Is that correct?
Yeah, but they're not dead.
Yes, they're not dead. However, if the patient makes that decision, then the cause of going through anesthesia is a sickness.
No, it's not. But we shouldn't kill a person if they're not dead.
However, not if a person consents.
But if what you mean is that the patient is incurable or suffering in a lot of pain, right, in your condition, right?
Yes.
So have you ever considered that there's also a lot of people on the earth which is fighting for their life. They are suffering a lot of pain. So this is in our moral. So how will your euthanasia break this moral? Because due to you are offering an option that is suicide to escape the problem. Have you ever considered all this?
Yes, I have. So some people are fighting for their life, and trying to beat their sickness, and that is their choice. However, they should also be given another choice to end their life or to give up, simply give up, to end their agony and their sickness.
So will this bring suicide to? Well, a lot of people do suicide because of this.
Well, then please further elaborate. What do you mean by suicide?
Because you're lightening the issue of suicide. You're making suicide like it can be done for everyone. Everybody should go to suicide, which your euthanasia is kind of meaning to this.
Well, in my opinion, suicide should not be recommended or should not be encouraged. However, it should be an option for it.
Yeah, but this is what your meaning is. You're encouraging suicide because you're encouraging euthanasia.
No, this is just providing another legal option instead of simply
So
suicide.
how come it's legal?
It should be. Well, it is not yet legal, but
Yeah,
this is
so
the topic we're
it's
debating
illegal.
on.
It's illegal. Like it's illegal. It's just it.
Well, then, if it's illegal, then there is no purpose in debating on this topic. So we have to draw our attention back to the topic, which is trying to legalize euthanasia.
Okay, you may now begin your speech.
Okay. So to continue my speech, I would like to also elaborate that as an atheist, death is neither good or bad, rather just a natural part of life. Well, this is just some people's own opinions. However, we should not undermine such opinions made by people, since going through euthanasia is just providing another option for terminally ill patients. And furthermore, to elaborate on some religions banning or prohibiting suicide, I would like to ask a question to my fellow debater as well. So some religions also forbid the consumption of certain foods such as pork or wine. But however, such foods were not banned. So same can go with going through euthanasia. So some countries or some cultures or some religions prohibit the practice of suicide. However, it doesn't mean that suicide should completely be prohibited. Rather, a person should be able to choose their own terms to die. And that would basically be it.
OK。好，40几秒。好，差不多就这样。OK。
对啊，为什么打起来啊？
不想打起来。